right, so I want to give people a quick update on the 40-gallon tank. So we got the rams in here. We also got a pair of Apistogrammas. Super excited about those. We'll get to those in a second. But yeah, just looking at these fish. I mean, they've been coloring up super nice. Right now the water is a little bit cloudy because I put these almond leaves in the water. So I'm doing this on purpose, trying to get like more tannins in the water. I want to simulate a little bit more of the Apistogramma habitat. Here's the male over here. So I went with a Apistogramma Macmasteri, and yeah, I just got a pair. We'll see the female in a little bit. There's some footage. And yeah, just like throwing these almond leaves in here, I think has been a good thing for these fish. They really enjoyed just like swimming in and out of them. The coconut hut is pretty cool. I have noticed that like at night they will go in the coconut hut and stuff. And so I got the cave, I got the coconut hut. I'm hoping that they'll at some point pick one and start breeding in it. I did also just pick up a 10-gallon tank today, so I might pull them and try and get some breeding action going. One of my things on my to-do list is to get like my brine shrimp hatchery going, and then I can start feeding some live food. Because like right now, I have like a mix of foods that I'm feeding. I'm feeding like these fluval bug bites. They're like, it's like a fish flake food. It's good. Like you can see the colors of the fish are great. Like everything is really like popping and it's super vivid. I'm also feeding the Hikari freeze-dried bloodworms. I think those have been a big hit. Basically every fish has accepted those so far, which has been nice. It took the Rams like a little bit of time to figure out that like yeah, like this is food and you guys can eat this because it's like on the top. But otherwise, like I think from a food perspective, I'm trying to just focus on like giving variety. I do want to start feeding some live food. I'm a little nervous about like spoiling the fish. That's something that I've heard from guys that are like, all right, like if you just start feeding like, like bloodworms all the time and brine shrimp all the time and like you never mix in a freeze dried or dry food, they're gonna stop taking it. So I want to like try and like not fall into that trap. I think it's like really easy to just like accidentally like start only feeding live foods and then everyone just gets like super accustomed to it. So this is the female Apistogramma, has been, super great. Has been, super active in the tank. I was worried for a little bit that like maybe there'd be some bullying involved. Just because I don't know, two different species of Apistogrammas. A lot of people don't realize this, but the German blue rams are actually technically Apistogrammas. And so yeah, I mean, just have two pairs of cichlids, have like 13 other fish, just tetras. It's a 40-gallon tank, and yeah, gonna get that 10-gallon set up so I can probably pull a pair for breeding. I figured like I might just give them a month and just let them get accustomed and see what happens. I do have to cycle that new tank. My plan is to put like one of the sponge filters in the big tank, and then I can just move it to the small tank, and like it should already have some good bacteria. But like you guys can see, like the color on this male is incredible. And it's a small fish. I mean, it's probably like 2 inches. Like I mean, when they go up to like the German blue rams, you can kind of get a sense that like they're not very big. They also like swim around like in a little bit of a derpy way, which is kind of interesting. I do feel like they're probably the most athletic fish I have in the tank right now, so it's kind of interesting. Like they don't really hard flex. Here's the rummy nose tetras. The tetras have been good. They've been getting big. Like they've been eating like a lot of food, but the colors have been bright and the tips of the noses are red and stuff. Here's the female German blue ram with a little bit more color. She's been great. I mean, she's probably the grumpiest tank member right now. I think like there's a little bit of cichlid chasing, but I think like nothing that's out of the norm. This is like my first time having two different species of cichlid in the same tank. I had a tank like a little while ago that had some firemouth cichlids that are like those are super super straightforward and easy to keep, but they didn't really have anything that was like of their weight class that they could not get along with. But yeah, this is the male German blue ram. He's super super chilled out. I mean, he chases the female like a little bit, but like not substantially, like nothing honestly crazy. And so that's been kind of interesting to see like how not so aggressive he is when you compare him to like the other pistogrammas. So here's the female pistogramma again. She's noticing that there's some flake food on the top here. And yeah, what I've been really trying to focus on is just trying to feed the female and just, get her fattened up and, hopefully full of eggs. And, I am hoping to breed these fish and would like to see them raise their own fry. Like, this is a young pair of Apistogrammas. I was talking to the guys at the fish hut, and they were letting me know that like, hey, like the fish that we just got in are definitely like juvenile fish. So, if you're gonna try and breed them, that's cool, man. But just don't be super surprised if they have some issues on the first try, like maybe they'll eat the eggs in the first go or panic and eat the fry or something. And so my plan for right now is maybe to see if I can get them to breed in this 40 gallon. If I can't, not a huge deal. I can move them into the 10. I may move the other pair of cichlids if one of them breeds in the 40. So like if one of them starts to like lay eggs and I notice it, I may just pull the other one into the 10 gallon just to like make sure that there's no issues with aggression or anything. But so far, I've been pleasantly surprised that like they just seem to get along. I mean, they kind of like stick together, which is kind of a weird, thing that I wasn't really expecting. Like I kind of was expecting there to be like a little bit more of a dominance hierarchy than I feel like there actually ended up being. I have had them now for a couple days, so I think like they're settled in to a point where like if there's going to be like a major problem, at least pre like breeding time, I think it would have like reared its head by now. And so at this point, like, wow, look at that. Look at the hue on the tail there. It's so crazy. The color in these fish is incredible. But yeah, you can see like the female Apistogramma is just like hanging out in between the pair of electric, no, sorry, the pair of German blue rams on electric blue. And yeah, they're just, I mean, they just coexist and like they kind of just ignore each other. And even like when it's feeding time, they kind of just like feed next to each other. So I've read some stuff online that have said like, yeah, like you got to be a little careful. Sometimes like they won't get along, or sometimes like there'll be like issues with territory. But I've really tried to focus on making like enough hiding spaces for everybody. And I think I've largely been successful. I think having like two caves, I think is pretty key. So like just in case the Rams decide they like want a cave too. They got one. But yeah, there's like lots of rocks and rock caves that you can just like hide behind. And I think like having the caves, I really believe that that makes the fish feel secure. And so like now they're just swimming out and about and just like doing their thing. The leaves have been interesting. Like these leaves are cool. So we're back on video of the leaves. Like the male has been really interested in like hanging out and chilling in the leaf. And I think like that's probably pretty normal because like in their natural habitat there's a lot of leaf litter. They are usually like a blackwater fish, so like I'm pretty sure these Apistogrammas come from like river streams in Colombia that are usually blackwater. So I'm trying to do my best to kind of replicate, part of their environment, but I do think that they've been tank raised for a couple generations now. So, my pH is like a 7.6, which I know is like pretty high for pistogrammas. Putting the leaves in there hopefully will like lower it a little bit, but it's the kind of thing where like they seem to be acting so like normally, and the pair has even shown some like signs of mating behavior. I wasn't able to get any footage for this video of this behavior, but the male is swimming in front of the female and doing like a shimmy 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 back into the side. And I've read online that this is kind of like the electric slide for pistogrammas. And so yeah, I mean look at the colors right now on these rams. Like this is they're coloring up here. um, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is mating behavior too. They're kind of just like flashing at each other and they're like, hey, like we should consider having fish fry because that would be a good way to further our genes. And there's lots of food in this tank. And yeah, and so I mean, this is kind of where I'm at with this setup so far. Here's the female again, a little bit better lighting so you can see her coloring. And yeah, I'm gonna keep making videos of these updates. I think the short-term plan is to keep everybody in the same tank and just set up this 10 gallon as maybe a breeding setup, and just we'll go from there. We'll see if it makes sense to pull fish and do it, and if not, we'll just start to get it cycled. And stay tuned for the next video. If you like this content, please consider subscribing. It does help me build the channel, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.